Hello, thank you for watching Conversation Nation. My name is Travis Montague. I'm the founder and CEO of Holler. I am joined here today with Jay Bregman, who's the founder and CEO of Thimble. So Jay, thank you for coming. What's Thimble? Tell me about your business.
Sure. So Thimble is on-demand, by-the-job insurance that you can buy as a small business anywhere from an hour and a year and anything in between. And this is important because more people now that are small businesses are working transactionally, right? They're not necessarily working all the time, but they're working flexibly on their own terms. And we have a product that finally lets them buy insurance so that they can go and get more work or protect themselves on demand.
Wow. Talk to me about that process. So you're in the insurance industry. It's a tough industry when you're small. When you're a small startup. So talk to me about the process of getting to where you are today.
Sure. Well, basically, what a lot of people don't realize is just how regulated the insurance market is. If you want to create a new product, a really new product, a new product that lets people buy on demand anything from an hour to a year, as opposed to just an annual policy that you have filled lots of questions for, you actually have to go and create a new insurance contract and new pricing structures for that. And then you have to shop around for a carrier, and then basically you have to go and get every single individual state to be able to approve that new contract. So, this is easily $1 million process. Very few companies invest in it because they don't want to take the risk of doing this. But we just felt the opportunity for being able to provide a product whose time had come for anything from handymen to hairdressers that were trying to work fractionally, or younger people, millennials that were using the product, was just too compelling.
Yeah. It's interesting that you're targeting the gig economy, and when you think about the large insurance providers, the Geicos of the world, they are focused on auto and all these other kind of big categories, but it seems like you're tapping into a underserved population or category in the insurance space that really benefits people more so than just focusing on the dollars aspect of it. So talk to me, why did you focus there specifically?
Well, so first of all, the market is just enormous, right?
Yeah.
So there's $100 billion of small business insurance sold in the U.S. every year, and that's with 40% of sole proprietors not buying any insurance, right? Because it's either unaffordable or inaccessible to them. So we just thought there was this huge opportunity to take this big market, make it much bigger, and to take into account the fact that it was changing fundamentally, right? So people were working in different ways that they had worked in 5 years ago or 10 years ago. 44 million Americans had side jobs. 10 million people are working as contractors. So people were dipping in and out of commercial work in ways that you had never seen before. And yet, if they wanted to protect their business or to go and get more jobs like a big company by getting an insurance policy, they were confronted with one option, which was you got to buy for the entire year and you got to pay up front, which we thought was totally crazy. And so we thought, well, let's build a policy that basically allows you to buy instantly, anywhere from an hour and a year, native apps, websites, whatever. So that basically insurance could become this on-demand product for this new type of customer. And ultimately, we feel like that's going to be the new market standard. But it's a different and new kind of product that's just not available with anybody else.
It's interesting. So our CMO actually, before she came and joined us here at Holler, she was doing freelance work on her own. And she referenced that same issue, right? You're doing a couple of gigs, and the gig might last a couple weeks, right? But if you want to go out and get any business insurance to cover that particular engagement, then you have to do so for the entire year. Now, in some cases, depending on the contract or the opportunity, it might make a lot of sense. But when you're thinking about people who are performing services, and in order to perform the service, they're incurring liabilities. Say if something happens and they want to be covered so they don't lose their home or something like that. The price to acquire that, if you're a hairdresser or a trainer or something, might be prohibitive to do that.
And it's not just the price, it's also the cost, the time, right? Time is so valuable to people that are running their own business and that are doing it just by themselves. The idea of picking up the phone, to calling an insurance broker, to negotiating with them, to sending quotes back and forth, a multi-week process, which is the way all traditional products work other than ours, is just people would rather not do it.
Yeah.
And so for any amount of money. So we think it's not only got to be the cost structure has to change, but also it's just got to be on demand. Right now that's really something that I think we've been able to perfect, where others are still a really traditional analog type product.
Yeah, I love your business. The reason why I love it is because you've really found a way to help small businesses. I mean, if you look at even the Amazon, the Facebooks, the Googles of the world, the large Fortune 500 brands aren't carrying those businesses. The people who are carrying those businesses are the small, medium businesses, right? It's the plumbers, the hairdressers, et cetera, who are contributing in a smaller way, but at scale, it's a bigger opportunity and makes a lion's share of their revenues. So if you look at kind of the examples on Uber and Lyft and like the way they've approached the gig economy, they've profited significantly off the backs of the small business owners or the people who are doing freelance work, et cetera, who are just trying to find their way, right? And it's their hustle. Talk to me about how do you build a business that is not, it serves this community rather than by profiting off their backs, because sometimes those things could be at odds, right? I would love to hear your perspective on that.
Thimble's mission is to make insurance simple, enabling small businesses to succeed on their own terms. And succeed on their own terms means working as they want to, when they want to, how they want to, whatever success means to them. That could mean working 1 hour a year, whatever. We'll be there to support them with an insurance policy that will work for them. And I think that's the important perspective. That's just part of the DNA of the business, is that we're creating a new product that's specifically tailored to you. And most of our product is being used for people to go and get more work. So about 40% of our policies are purchased for people doing work for businesses that are requiring a certificate of insurance before they can even get jobs. So basically this is a way that there are jobs out there that previously they had to turn down because, hey, I'm not getting a year-long policy just for one job.
Yeah.
But basically now they can just a few taps on an app, as little as $5, they can buy a policy and they can get a job that's worth hundreds or thousands of dollars.
At any point during your journey, have you come across a situation where you had to make a decision that would have been at odds with the best interest of the small business owners that are on the platform?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, so far we have not. And what I mean by that is we really have managed to build the product to be as absolutely friendly as possible. I'll give you an example. So the minimum price that you can buy a small business insurance policy in America, other than us, is $300. Won't find it anywhere lower. And actually, when they file the insurance policies, that's the price that they, the baseline price that they put. Our minimum price is $5. It's the lowest, in America. And so basically, we started from the perspective of, look, we want to support people that are doing work as little as a single hour, where $5 is, could be a lot to them, as opposed to looking at it from the perspective of, well, let's just be $299 or $200. So I think, although we haven't faced those things directly, indirectly in the design of the product, we've said, look, we're just going to be on your side, making this as easy as possible, and it's going to be on your terms, not on our terms.
Yeah. Do you think, now kind of looking outwards, do you think that there's other things, like when you're looking at, I'll use Uber for example, because they're like kind of the famous case. When you think about companies like Uber and what they could have done better to better serve the people, the drivers on their platform, what are some of the things that come to mind?
Well, look, I mean, I can speak only from what I know about Uber, but I think there is something about Uber in the idea that you can make money as a very small business or even person flexibly, right? Which is a great thing, right? That basically, look, you can drive once in a while, etc. How many people actually do that? I don't know, but at Thimble, we love the idea that people can be empowered to make more money that way. What I think has happened though is people have talked about a different kind of structure where people are working more or less full time for these companies. That's not our customer, right?
Yeah.
So 67% of our customers never used any of these gig services before, whether Uber, Lyft, or Postmates or Thumbtack or whatever. I think people are still trying to figure out the model of how to perfect this, but I think there is something to say that any kind of platform can help bring more work to enterprising small businesses is a good thing, and we should try and find the positives about these services that allow them to do that.
Yeah. You talked about price a couple times during our conversation. The cheapest insurance coverage you could find is $300 elsewhere, and you have gotten it down to as low as $5. Talk to me about the science of that. Like, how did you bring that down so dramatically to serve the needs of the small businesses?
It's really simple. So that $300 policy is sold over the telephone by a traditional broker or series of brokers in a highly analytic process where they're taking information from the customer, they're emailing it to the insurance company, and emails like the new way of doing it. Then they're getting the email back and forth. It's just a very, very high cost. So that $300 is really administrative cost that's built into the policy. Once you start thinking in a world where actually the administrative cost to process a policy is zero or close to zero, then or $5, then it starts to become a very different equation. You can start to enable all these kinds of use cases that before just never would have bought insurance.
Yeah. Your whole business model is built around solving issues related to this community. Here at Holler, we provide content for all the apps around the world, right?
We're looking forward to the Thimble emoji.
We can talk about that. So the interesting piece about that is the emotions that people express are generally the same, but the way that emotions are expressed all around the world are very different. And so when you think about the fact that we power 600 million messages a day in everywhere from Indonesia to Brazil to here, it becomes a really big challenge when you think about content creation at scale. And so one of the things that we've been thinking about here is, okay, well, at some point we have to think about how do we engage a community of artists and other people to start creating on our platform. How do you do that? How do you enable them to be successful? And so just thinking about a community-driven approach to create for everyone in the world versus just us here at Holler creating content while maintaining quality and standards, et cetera. The fact that you're able to provide insurance for these individual business owners or freelancers, et cetera, and you're able to offer them the same quality of solution is one of the things that we are striving to do here. How do we continue to create opportunity for people everywhere to earn from their creative capabilities while maintaining quality and standards here at Holler. Question for you though, you rebranded. You used to be Verifly. Now you're Thimble, and we just went through this process ourselves. We were Emoji, now we're Holler. So there's always a story there, so tell me the story.
No, of course. Yeah. Well, thank you. First of all, congratulations. I really hope you guys figure that out because it would be great for everybody if you did, and I'm sure you will. Yeah. So the story is very simple. So when we came up with Verifly, we were actually doing one type of job, which was flying a drone for money. That's where the Verifly comes from. Got it. And so basically, we came up with this idea internally for the name, and then what happened was that grew and grew and grew, and a lot of the people who were flying the drones were also photographers or real estate brokers or construction guys, and they wanted us to do their normal business insurance, and now we do 120 different types of businesses. We're 10, 20 times the size, and so basically we started to look at ourselves and basically say, does that name really represent who we are right now? And so thought about it, well, what represents this small protection, right? This kind of that we're providing, and that's where Thimble and Thimble.com and Thimble on the App Store all came. So
got it. And then a fun question: tell me what your last emoji was that you used.
So that's a really good question. So the last emoji that I used was the thumbs up emoji because we had somebody, and I know it's not the answer that I wanted to give. But I had one of our product people was double and triple checking something about whether basically our app would be properly renamed in the App Store as part of the rebranding process, and went through the trouble of actually contacting Apple to do it. And so that was the last reaction that I gave to thank him for going through that extra mile.
Awesome. There's always a fun story behind the last emoji. So I have to ask that question. Well, thank you so much for spending the time. This was a great conversation. Loved every aspect of it, and hope to have you by again.
I can't wait. Thank you very much. Best of luck.